ensonga egamba omwami tomukuba mabega. So nina okubeera bwe nti wankonako what is I nga nteekawo oba njagadde oba sikola ki. I am being abused physically, sexually, even emotionally. So tugenda kutunuulira gender violence ekimuleeta, ebika bya gender based violence, kiki ekituukawo singa omuntu afunye ekyo, and then what can we do as media people when you are reporting on this. The way you promote fresh kids is the way you can fight this vice in your community.
Yalina okwetika Stevenson asobola ogiyisaawo. Abagenda mbusi wayo lagawa.
Ulimpulisa wangwere.
Kegasigo oli musirikale okumbusa wadye mazira. Neda munaye. Mazima gali nti njagala kufumbira. Yasima amatako. Okyakozesa ekitambaala ekyo kinagula ng'omwana akyayonka. Mukazi watu yabimanyira. Kati gisiga okusa lodi alina ensimbi. Naye ati yakwatako akasente akatono. Ngoli bwana jayo bukadde nakwako 5,000. Kyokka namugamba agenda okozesa enviiri ezo. Ninga 5,000 tezisobola kubanga zikola enviiri. Mukazi watu yamusimba obusente obutono nnyo Kamala. Nakwate kuba asobola okuba nga yeeyongerayo.
Enguge ez'ekisobola kulaga mapa. Nakyengwenyi. Chokono yalekere ku bitalo aye ndoze naye abega yatwala edo baamalawo
tukoze bulungi kubanga tuweze ate okwega tukoma tugenda nomutwegeisa ekigema ku butabanguko obw'amaka mwatwegesa etuluganya ly'abaana mwategesa n'empisa n'olwekyo ngenda okubategeeza nti nze okulwange nga muzeeyi ebintu ebyo mbaire mbibona era ebimu byo nga mbitegeera.
Batyami bange mbakubira omulanga nti banange obutabanguko mu maka tubukendeeze, obusungu tubukendeeze, tulekere okwawukana mu maka ku baana baife. Kuba buli lwoleka omwana ennyuma banange oba olese obuzibu.
Eze mu mbeera y'okuba nti abantu bwe tubanga tuli mu famire nga tuli abantu babiri mu maka omusaadha n'omukazi olina okubaawo okuteesa. Okuteesa kintu kikulu.
Gender based violence. There was physical, emotional.
Tusomyemu ebintu bingi nti ebikwatagana ne gender based violence nti waliwo obutabanguko bungi bugenze nga butuusibwa ku bantu baffe mu maka gaffe naye nga bisinga obungi nti bikolebwa oba bitutuusibwako n'abantu abali mu maka ago mwennyini. Kiyinza okuba ku maama oba taata.
Kizeemu nti omukyala kirungi okubeera waka nga weekolera okusinga bonna akuumirira omwami abe nga akuwa buli kimu.
Okusinziira ku musomo ngenda kukyusaamu ndabe nti ndaga empisa enungi oluusi n'omuntu n'ambula n'ekyama.
Given today's training and their responses as to the questions I was posing to them, I highly believe their lives in their families will change, because the first step starts with them to fight against gender-based violence.
Gender-based violence is one of the issues that are emerging from communities, and that is the reason why we've been working with community reporters so that they are empowered, they are equipped on how best they can contribute towards addressing gender-based violence through reporting effectively on it as well. And also we made use of a short film, so that at least it poses as a conversation starter for communities to engage freely in an environment where they watch the film, then engage, interface, have a conversation, have a dialogue on what they saw happening on the film with regards to gender-based violence, and also talk about the experiences they have as well.
Engagements like the film we watched, I think it's very useful. I was happy to see that it's done in the local language, so it can reach everyone in the communities. It's very good to give a very clear example of how situations can be if you talk about domestic violence or gender-based violence, it's also good that they come with solutions or another view, another angle. I think that's very important to show to people too, that people can change. It's not only pessimistic, sometimes stories can be very optimistic too. And I think it's very good that it was looked at in different angles, from the victim but also from the prosecutor. So I think you have to go to communities to find the people there. It's not easy to gather them for things like this, because it's still a taboo to talk about. But I believe if you can reach one person, it will spread out and it can reach a lot more.
For domestic violence, we are reporting 1.24 cases an hour. That's one case every 48 minutes. Yes, at that point, a woman is experiencing one form. Okay, in every 48 minutes that goes by, just know a woman somewhere in some home, she's being beaten, she's being denied resources, she's being called names, she's being embarrassed, all those sorts of forms of different violence. So that means approximately 25% of rape and defilement cases are closed due to lack of evidence. And that means those are now 4,785 cases that were closed in 2016. And those are 4,785 perpetrators acting without fear. So that's how we have a very dangerous environment. Like we are such a violent community, I would say that. But more importantly, we want to look at the cause. So what is really causing this violence? One is the power imbalance between women and men. That is rooted in our patriarchal societies, and it just normalizes everything. The fact that it's so high, it's so normal. Yeah, many of us grew up in communities where it was okay. When a man is beating his wife, they tell you he's disciplining his wife. Yeah, don't interfere. Don't interfere in private matters. And we've been socialized. Socially, the young men are watching their fathers do that. So they think it's the normal way of doing things. And with our lack of parenting programs for our children, for our young boys, for mentorship, role models, our young men have grown up without knowing what they should be doing. So they just replicate what their past experiences are.
Yeah, this meeting was a good meeting where we have shared about a number of issues affecting our communities in relation to the media and the media perspective. We have also heard from the community reporters, which is also very good, that they are doing great work. They are amplifying the voice of communities. We have had an opportunity of listening to statistics around around gender-based violence in the country, which is very alarming. And I've also learned that there's a lot of work we need to do, and media is very critical and very key in amplifying the voices of communities. We have been working around gender-based violence on a number of forms, including child rape, including child marriage, looking at child trafficking, looking at some forms of domestic violence in the homes. And my contribution in this has that we've been able to amplify, to also create awareness in communities. We have been able to work with leaders to draft and implement some kind of policies or action plans on addressing gender-based violence. We've also been able to engage policymakers at national level, and also trying to see that they actively participate in addressing gender-based violence. The future is in terms of way forward, is that we're going to continue engaging communities. There is a lot of work supposed to be done. We have a long way to go. We need to engage different stakeholders. We need to bring the religious leaders on board. We need to bring cultural leaders on board because in most cases you hear that gender-based violence is somehow connected to culture, and I think it's very good if we bring the cultural leaders on board. Then we have the communities where the perpetrators actually live, and we need to involve the young people. So as they grow, they understand the concept, and they can be change makers.
It's important to talk about gender-based violence in our communities because in our cultures, like in the African cultures, gender-based violence is kind of normalized. People, especially the male, are raised to understand like it's a normal occurrence, and people grow like when we are growing up, we are taught like, oh, if something like this happens, it's in our home, you're not supposed to report it and anything. But as we grow and culture evolves, we've been empowered, given tools. We can speak out and also understand that it starts from us. So it's important for us to talk about it. And also the next generation should understand that gender-based violence is not normal.
It is a process. We're not going to say that we are going to win today. Like how Diana put it. We need to skill, we need to provide tools, and we need to invest into this process. We also need to be very fair to the journalists. The schools of journalism where we go to, there is no gender course there. You get? So if you are not trained in becoming gender sensitive, and then the society is expecting you to, and yet you have been socialized to be, you decide. Yeah. So I just wanted to share with you the project that we are conducting, supported by DGF. We have a project called Media for Gender Equality and Social Justice, Leaving No One Behind. So we are targeting journalists, we are targeting practitioners, media managers, owners and the like, and also women leaders, policymakers and the like, so that we engender media, we have engendered media products.
We need also to educate our managers within the schools to talk about gender-based violence within the school context, within the environment that we live in, not only in those formal spaces, but also in vocational and teacher training colleges themselves, okay, to understand these issues. Perhaps the other proposition I would like to see is the exchange of community reporters coming in to say to Mama FM to understand how they've been these issues are being handled. And like a day, you don't need so many days, but to have these kind of exchanges to understand, but they also take it back to their communities, where say in Jinja, the radio stations that they report to, and share these experiences.
This evening, we've been drawing strategies on how media can be part of the prevention work when it comes to gender-based violence in our communities. And one of those ways, we have 3 ways in which we hope the media can really be able to play its role. One is to skill, tool, and resource. In terms of skilling, this means that we need to draw programs that aim at building the capacity of the media house, right from the editors to the reporters to everyone who is working in this area. And the discussions that we've also had, we've also reflected on how our media schools do not have gender courses. So we have journalists coming out of media houses with no media analysis, with no media sensitivity, and they are reporting on issues of gender-based violence. So it becomes quite a challenge that we don't have that skills. We also hope that organizations that are media literate based can partner with mainstream women movements organization to see how can we leverage resources and be able to give the skills to the journalists on how they can cover these issues, give them the support that they need and the resources and the tools to ensure that they are able to bring this as a development issue, so that they prioritize it within their media houses in terms of coverage, in terms of how it is written, and how they do the gender analysis within the newspaper, so that we don't have small briefs when it comes to GBV issues. We do not have incomplete stories that do not come from a very good contextual background.